Well, hi there. Michelle Luevane here. I'm a realtor and CPA in the Denver metro area. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about forbearance in the mortgage industry and what that means when you are purchasing a home or maybe you already have a home, what that term means and how it can affect you. And this came up from someone who asked me this question because they were concerned about a potential tax consequence. So, talking about how the COVID-19 has impacted people and provided financial hardships, I think it's a good conversation to have at this point. So, if you were impacted by COVID-19, you may be wondering how you are going to pay your mortgage. What if you can't pay your mortgage? And what are the tax implications of doing a loan modification, which is ultimately what we're talking about here? So if you can pay your mortgage, pay it. That's really the best option and answer that we have. But if you can't pay your mortgage, what are your options? So the CARES Act, lenders may not foreclose on you for 60 days after March 18th, 2020, generally speaking. And so if you're experiencing financial hardship, you have a right to request forbearance. Forbearance is the ability of stopping or reducing your mortgage payments for a period of time that you have negotiated with your lender. Generally, you're not going to see any additional interest or penalties accruing on that balance. However, the big piece with forbearance is it's not forgiveness, it's just simply pausing what's going on. So generally, at the end of that forbearance period, you either have a lump sum of all of the payments that you skipped due, or you might have set up some kind of a schedule for how you are going to repay those missed payments. So if you don't have the cash now, but you are thinking that you will in the future, forbearance is certainly an option. The concern with that, though, is that at the end of that forbearance period is, are you going to have the money to bring your mortgage current? The concern there is the possibility of foreclosure from the lender for being behind on your mortgage. So if no forbearance agreement is in place, it could not making payments can seriously impact your credit. And so canceled debt is usually considered for income tax purposes. It can be pretty big hit to take. But the other option to forbearance is possibly loan forgiveness. Generally, in that case, you're not paying the loan anymore. In fact, you probably don't own the property anymore. And so that can become a taxable event because generally debt is, once it's forgiven and you're not required to pay it back, it becomes a taxable event. But when we had this mortgage crisis back in 2007, there was a Mortgage Forgiveness Act that actually excluded mortgage loan forgiveness from being taxable. And so something similar is in place now. It's called the FCAA 2020 Act, or Further Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2020, that is actually also retroactive to 2018 and 2019, where if my loan was forgiven, it's generally not going to be a taxable event to me. The issue, though, is that I do lose my home, and that can have serious impacts on my credit. So the exclusion for the canceled home mortgage debt, if you're in a situation where you're not able to resume your mortgage payments, let's talk about what your options are and if there are any other ways to avoid losing your home. We know that this is a tough time for a lot of people. People have questions. They may or may not be getting their questions answered. Please feel free to use this as a resource. If you need someone to talk to who understands the real estate market of today, understands how these loan modifications can impact you, and also understands the tax implications of the decisions that you're making, please feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you have.